What's poppin', gang? How you feeling? How you doing? So, welcome to Mikasa. I feel like I have the only part of my room that looks bland in the camera, but whatever. So today I had a few options on what I wanted to make this video about, and so I decided to make it about this topic just for the simple fact that I have the most knowledge and experience on it because I just went through it. So clearly it's about, relationships. Not even relationships, the relationships specifically that I went through and what I've learned. I'm so sorry for this construction in the background, and I know y'all can probably hear it, but if you can't, great, because it is loud, because they're building a racetrack outside my window, literally outside my window. Anyway, so basically just recently, I got out of a year and some change relationship with a guy who was a college athlete, and so he was about an hour and a half away from me. We met through a mutual friend when I went up to the school, and it was just kind of like we started talking on FaceTime one night, and then one night it became two, and then it became every night, and then boom, I had a boyfriend that played football. Basically, that's how it went. But yeah, I mean, one thing that I definitely learned from that is, number one, I could not be in long distance relationships. That was my first, and it was a great experience, but boy, was it my last. I'm not doing distance anymore, and I think the number one reason for me is because I'm too much of a physical touch person to not be able to like hold hands or like go out together or lay on you. Who is this? Texting my phone through my laptop, girl. Anyways, yeah, I'm too much of a physical touch person to like not be able to be around my significant other. I think another thing that I learned is that trust is essential. Like, essential, especially in long distance relationships, because let me tell you, you don't have trust, you can have 1,070,000 billion stuff things running through your mind about what they could be doing when they're not picking up the phone. And in my specific situation, I had a college athlete who had football all day, and then when it wasn't football, it was schoolwork, and when it wasn't schoolwork, he wanted to hang out with friends, because who wouldn't want to hang out with friends? You're in college. And because that's such a busy schedule, for me, it felt like, well, dang, you're either not prioritizing me, and or you're like prioritizing somebody else. Like what's up? Who else is there? I want to meet her. Let me know something. But most of the time, it really wasn't that. It was just that, like, you only have 24 hours in a day, so he can't spend 17 hours on the phone with me and still have flying high grades and great skill in football, So being long distance takes trust, but then again, it takes time too. Relationships already take time, but because you're long distance, instead of like, oh, I'll just hang out with you today and get some stuff done, you can run around with me, it's like, oh, I gotta hang out with you in your city because we don't live in the same city, which takes away time from doing other things. Or even if you are in your city and you don't go visit them, you have to be on the phone versus just somebody being right there. And I know it's not that big of a difference when in terms of like being on the phone versus being there, but like it takes up more time because you have to be more dedicated in the conversation versus somebody just sitting there next to you, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's something else that I realized. What else have I realized from this? Not in a long distance aspect, but just in a long-term aspect, I've learned that relationships take effort, man. And not that I didn't know that they took effort, but I underestimated the amount of effort that it took. Like, there are, like, disagreements are inevitable, and not because that's not the right person, but just because nobody is the exact same. So there's going to be disagreements just for the simple fact that one person doesn't feel one way and the other person does. And I had a really hard time communicating efficiently without letting my emotions get to me. And I feel like in that sense, I would spit fire sometimes, or I would like get real fed up and just not want to talk anymore. And again, like it's not a problem to not want to talk and take a breather, but just like wanting to shun somebody out or just not wanting to talk to them like for days at a time. Again, it can be normal every once in a while, but it should never get to a point to where it's just like, I don't know how to communicate with me. You don't get what I'm saying, so just forget it. And he may disagree. I don't think that I'm too much of a my way or the highway type person, but in certain situations, I definitely feel that way. And I try to be understanding, but some things I just can't shake. Like, that's just how I feel. There's nothing that you could do about that. I'm not going to change my views. I'm not going to change my feelings on that. That's just what it is. And having somebody who is or can be just as stubborn as you, it's just like head to head. And when it came to that stuff, like I had to teach myself, like, okay, it's perspective number one, but then also you gotta learn how to communicate better. You can't just get mad because somebody doesn't get you or somebody doesn't necessarily love what you do or how you do it, you know? So I definitely learned some of that. Relationships take patience. They take a lot of patience. Because sometimes things are disagreements, but you just need to let things have time to cool off, you know? Or settle in somebody's head, to let them really think about what you said and things like that. And I am like, if I say one thing and I want it to change, then like it's gotta change. That's it. Like there's no you sleep on it for 2-3 days. It's just, it needs to change right then and there. And not everybody's like that. And I learned that in that sense. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes explaining things thoroughly without letting your emotions get in the way. And again, sometimes just letting that marinate in somebody's brain till they decide that they want to change it. I also learned that being in a long-term relationship is fun. Not necessarily a long distance. That can sometimes suck, but actually, let me say this. Long distance relationships actually have its perks. So like in terms of me being clingy, being distant sucked for me, but it also helped me to not be too obsessed with just being in a relationship, because it gave me distance between the person, so that when I did see them, you miss that person that much more and you cherish your time that much more. But then also when you're away, it doesn't necessarily block everything you got going on, because the person's not with you all the time. They're not in your bed with you, going to the store with you just because you guys are in a relationship, you know? So it gives you guys enough space to really keep your priorities straight. But, you know, again, you cherish that time just a little bit more because you don't see that person every day. You cannot change people. You can't change people and you can't control people. And there are just certain things that I wanted to change about him. And not that I didn't love him, but I just felt like there were certain things that would be improvements if I changed them and would make him happier. But sometimes, not even just sometimes, it's never your duty in somebody else's life to change them. Only person that can change them is them, if you get what I'm saying. You can allow somebody to help you change, but nobody can change you unless you give them the power to change you. You get what I'm saying? So he never gave me that power in certain aspects, and it really frustrated me, because it's like, no, but you need to do this, but you need to do that, but you need to do this, you need to do that. But that's not what he wanted to do. And eventually I think it kind of clicked kind of toward the end of our relationship that like, dang, I can't make you change. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're your own person. And that would be just as sucky of a feeling if he were to try to make me change who I am. Because one thing he never did was try to make me like be somebody I'm not. And I feel like I subliminally did that with just certain things that I didn't love. You know what I'm saying? So not that I didn't love him, but certain things that I didn't love that he did. And I don't know. There's just some things that I'm like, I don't think I was a horrible girlfriend, but there's just some things that I kind of regret, like, saying and doing. But I mean, life's a learning lesson, you know? But there are things that I definitely learned going forward, that even in friendships, you just can't change people. And if they don't want to change, that doesn't mean you get mad at them because they don't want to do what you said, you know? And I feel like I did that a lot. Like, if you didn't like what I had to say or change the way I wanted to, now I'm mad at you because you want to be yourself. Like, stupid. But I learned, you know? So that's really all I had for today, guys. I feel like I can talk a little bit more about some more in-depth and personal things a little later, but I think it's just a little bit too early before I just start putting real personal stuff out there. So yes, I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. You know, things happen in your life. They freaking suck sometimes, but you know, you choose better paths, you move on, you make improvements, and you continue to live your best life. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I really love this lighting in my room. Like, I'm gonna be making videos back to back to back to back. In here, no, for real. I think I'm about to make another video in like 3 minutes, so you guys might get another video this week. And I know I say that every time, but I used to be lying because I was in school and I was working and I really had other stuff to do. But I was really just I really was trying to make other videos, but I just knew that wasn't going to be in my priority list. So I don't even know why I was trying to make all that work. But now I'm for real because I really don't have class until August 26th. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Of course, YL is out. You dig, 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 you dig.